Okay, I think it's on the stream. Let me edit titles. Oh shit. Ah. I gotta edit the title. This is not right now what I'm doing. Content. I don't know if I can update that. Okay, that makes no sense. You're totally a scammer. So no thank you. Anyways, I can't like make my face look bigger probably. So I'm gonna be eating a salad. I actually was like supposed to eat this earlier, but I've been very tired. I have extra peppers. Oh my god. Like this is where the food's gonna be at. Okay, I'm really tired. We're just gonna maybe start playing after I set my food out, but like let me just I don't know if I can. No. I have to just too many docs up. But anyways, I'm very hungry. I got this like 2 hours ago. And yeah. Anyways, I'm getting comfortable. How are everyone doing? Let me see users in chat. I think I have. Are you a real person? I don't know. I think I have the YouTube chat up just in case. Sometimes I miss to chat. Yeah, let me pull this up because. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna be reacting to Trump and activity feed. Just wanna make sure. I don't like that some of these docs are like so annoying. It should be fine. The title should say what it should say. But yeah, so I just obviously where's the do we have any oil? Probably like, but you just put it if you didn't give me any like oh I think they forgot the sauce. How is my Greek salad gonna taste good if there's no sauce in it? If there's no... Damn. I'm so ready for this and there's no like... What is... Oh. Totally forgot it. Totally forgot Greek. No! Half of the joy of eating it is like the seasoning and stuff. Oh my god. I'm so dry. What a goddamn day. I'm gonna come back. forgot to give me the freaking oil, the dressing. So I'm just gonna have to pour in my own. It's gonna be so much oil. I've been on like a very strict diet. Not very strict diet. I've been on the opposite, a really like shitty diet. Well, it's not been that shitty, but I've just been eating a lot of carbs. Just like processed carbs, I should say. So I'm trying to like transition to eating healthier again. The salad dressing is really what makes the Greek salad just taste incredible. I guess it's whatever. I had a weird day, so maybe add like soy sauce to this. I'm gonna get soy sauce. It's very salt. I need seasoning. Smells like karma, man. I'm excited though to listen to this. I'm gonna play it. So yeah, this is the rally in Arizona. So you can see, if you guys haven't been following any politics lately, RFK has dropped out the race. It's about like 73 days left in the elections for the US, and basically, I don't know, RFK's been really stiffed by the Democratic Party. I was a Democrat and now I kind of don't even identify with a lot of their stances, but anyways, let's get started.
And they will be tasked with releasing all of the remaining documents pertaining to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
Get him what he wants, right? Not sure if like if I can play this stuff. I think I'll have to just pause it like every 5 seconds. 3 seconds.
And they will also conduct a rigorous review of the attack last month. But I tell you, I have never had more people ask me, please, sir, release the documents on the Kennedy assassination. And we're going to do that. And I also...
Honestly, I feel like they cut off. Okay, we didn't see the full rally. That's probably why.
From Detroit down to Houston.
Let's start from like CNN cut that shit too much.
But he's highly respected. And I mean this sincerely. Had he been allowed to enter the Democrat... And he deserves it. He deserves it.
Maybe this is
destroy our country. Trillion. Want to know the truth? For the past 16 months, Bobby has run an extraordinary campaign for President of the United States. I know, because he also went after me a couple of times. I didn't like it. And I mean this sincerely. Had he been allowed to enter the Democrat primary, he would have easily beaten Joe Biden, but they wouldn't let him in. They put up rules. I've never seen rules like you had to have 65% of the vote in order to run, you know, little things like that.
Kind of crazy.
His candidacy has inspired millions and millions of Americans, raised critical issues that have been too long ignored in this country, and brought together people from across the political spectrum in a positive campaign.
I mean, let's just talk about how difficult it was for these, even if you're not a third-party individual, just to like get on the Democratic ticket. You couldn't even do that. Like, at least the Republicans had a full, fair, like, elections held, and Trump like won out, but people didn't even like Biden, and yet we were forced to like have him. It's kind of bullshit. I mean, that's where I was kind of like, oh man, what is this? Doesn't feel like, I know people are like, oh, it is fair, but I'm like, it isn't fair. Just because he's an incumbent president, like, bro, like, they literally knew that Biden was not mentally well, and they waited until the last minute, until like he couldn't like put two sentences together on stage where like the whole world sees that he's fucking like mentally not there. And then we're forced to have Kamala Harris, which she's not a popular candidate. She also can't really speak well. I don't know if she's going to be a good leader. It just makes no sense. As someone that was, you know, part of the Democratic Party, it just doesn't make sense.
Grounded in the American values of his father, Robert Kennedy, a great man, and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy. And I know that they are looking down right now, and they are very, very proud of Bobby. I'm proud of Bobby. You want to know the truth? And I don't think I've ever introduced anyone that got applause like he just got. I must tell you, I don't think it's true. I don't think I've ever introduced anybody that got applause like that. Amazing. It's true. Amazing.
I mean, it's really nice to see that like Trump supporters are like, I guess they're praising him. It's just like, really, to me, it's kind of very monumental that Robert F. Kennedy is not a Republican by any means. He's got very like liberal stances, especially on the environment. Like, he's definitely like his history of being an attorney can show you that. So I just think it's like more interesting that like I don't really stand for everything Trump does or JD Vance on the ticket, but it's interesting that like Trump is like trying to take on individuals that are across the aisle, that in a sense, and like also I think for Trump, he's like, oh, this guy like is probably not happy with how the Democratic Party treated him. So like it's just like a very historical moment, I feel.
Soon after I can't even believe I have to say this, nearly assassinated in Pennsylvania last month, Bobby called me to express his best wishes. He knows firsthand the risks incurred by leaders who stand up to the corrupt political establishment. When you stand up, you bring on some trouble for yourself, but you have to do what's right. You have to do what's right for the country. I will tell you, we are both in this to do what's right for the country. That's one thing I can tell you. He lost his father and uncle in service to our country, and Bobby himself was subject to repeated...
Look, it's like crazy to me that there are lots of individuals that are backing Trump that were more like lefties. Like so many individuals that I've just... And we're not talking about like popular individuals like Elon Musk, but there's like individuals that were like, I want to say like Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew. There's all these people that like their lives, they always seem like liberal individuals in Hollywood, just liberal individuals. That when I voted for Obama and Biden before, like I voted because I was like, this is the future, like the Democratic Party's for the future. But now I feel like no, they want to like have people live in fear. I don't feel any safer than I did a couple years ago. I mean, it's just like, I'm gonna tell you, like, yeah, the cost of living and inflation has gone up, and it's not nothing due to the presidents. They have a slight influence, but many reasons outside that influence it. But what I find is very, very worrisome is the amount of homeless people that are doing drugs, the amount of homeless people in my city. I live in like a Midwest city. We literally started having tent cities on the sides of the street, and I was like, maybe I should like start filming this. All along in Milwaukee, there's literally people living in the tents, and they live all year round now. It used to be just like a season, but I feel like because the weather's a lot warmer now, you can kind of like live in your tent basically. People are living in their RVs in what used to be public car and parks, like car and rides. You park your car and then you ride away, and I was like, this is insane, you know. This is like disturbing, because someone said, a Republican, more conservative person said, that was filming homeless people in parts of LA. It's like, just you wait, because this is gonna spread like all over the US. And it did in 2024, from when I started watching the videos in like 2021 or 2022. It's all over the US now. Like there's homeless people now. There's lots of people that I just feel like the values that made America strong is kind of collapsing a little bit. And it's not, maybe, I think it's like faithlessness, and I think it's it's like people's turning to drugs and not community. And like, I don't care how expensive it is to live. I'm gonna have a job, and I'm gonna like literally move to an area where it's more affordable. I'm not gonna be on the streets. Hell no, I'm not gonna be on the streets. Like, I will do what I can to pay my bills. I will try. Like, I just think like the striving that I'm talking about, like a lot of people don't have that. Like, they truly just want to like exist, and you can exist to exist, but it's just like not fair if these people are not paying taxes, or like I don't think all these people are going to work. Like, you cannot be always going to work if you don't have a bath and a shower and a permanent address. So, yeah, anyways, like, I like, that's kind of why I'm like, I feel like we've had, what, out of the past 16 years, it's 2008, right? Is it 16? It feels like crazy to even think that it's been like, let's do the math. Like, since 2008, oh god, not squared. Times I'm like, okay, yeah. Since the past 16 years, 12 of those years have been under democratic rule. And are we better? I do not think so. I do not think so, and that's like, to me, proof that I need to think differently. And it's hard because I'm a minority, I'm a woman, like, I am Indian, I'm like, literally Kamala Harris is someone I should be voting for. Like, I'm literally many of the demographics, right? And yet a part of me is like, something is wrong. Trump almost got shot. There's ties to the shooter with like BlackRock. We have all these like three-letter agencies having a huge influence in how leadership is run, and not in a good way. Like, there's lots of corporate influence, and it always has been, but to the point that like, people are wanting peace in such areas like Ukraine or Palestine, and it's like the war machine keeps going because it's not profitable to have peace, and that's just a straight up fact. Like, we're gonna be losing millions of dollars if we don't like have a war, and that's why I'm like, I feel like in the long term it's cheaper to not have a war, because you're gonna be spending also lots of money to put boots on the ground, right? And I don't know, like, let's keep watching this.
Threats to his safety during the course of his campaign, while being denied protection by the Harris-Biden administration. And this is a tribute in honor of Bobby. I am announcing tonight that upon my election, I will establish a new independent presidential commission on assassination attempts.
Oh, that's good. I know, like, RFK has been wanting that because he's like, he apparently didn't get any answers for his father dying.
And they will be tasked with releasing all of the remaining documents pertaining to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. And they will also conduct a rigorous review of the attack last month. But I tell you, I have never had more people ask me, please, sir, release the documents on the Kennedy assassination. And we're going to do that. And I also want to salute Bobby's decades of work as an advocate for the health of our families and our children. Nobody's done more. Millions and millions of Americans who want clean air, clean water, and a healthy nation have concerns about toxins in our environment and pesticides in our food. That's why today I'm repeating my pledge to establish a panel of top experts working with Bobby to investigate what is causing the decades-long increase in chronic health problems and child.
Okay, this is important to me because, again, the U.S. used to be a very, very industrial nation. We used to be the China of the world. Yeah, maybe like 100, 150 years ago. there's a lot of toxins in our soil, and that's like what we grow our food in and where we like live in. There's although we have like the EPA now, all these like chemicals that have been put in our water streams and everything. Like, I think it's not just the fact that we live inside more often and we're less active. Like, I think there's a lot of people that are active and still are getting immune disorders, like, yeah, like the increase in allergies, rheumatoid arthritis. Like, I mean, the amount of like chemicals that's in our lotions, in our plastic products, like there's so many reasons why, and possibly like what's influencing people getting sick and dying sooner than ever before. I don't think it's because it's diabetes. I don't think it's that. But like, why are people getting so much more cancers? Yeah, like, even if like you're eating more vegetables and fruit, sometimes it feels like you're still eating pesticides. So I think it's important that Trump is like giving this to RFK, because at the heart of it, like, I also believe in holistic living, and I think to have a sustainable society, or just like at the end of the day, like humans, if at the trajectory that we're going, we are trying to control all the processes in this world and the environment, like, we need to know how, like, you know, PFAS truly is impacting child development, and how to prevent that. How can we, like, not just like the ultra rich, but how can we have like low income communities that have higher rates of asthma and cancers? Like, how can we better that situation? And like, RFK was one of the like people that I believe in like New York State, one of the Hudson River, I think he like certain part of the Hudson River, he cleaned it out. So whatever this disappointment thing is, I think it's really cool.
Diseases, including autoimmune disorders, autism, obesity, infertility, and many more. We want every child in America to grow up and to live a long and healthy life. So I just want to ask Bobby to speak for a little while. I'll stand aside. I'm going to stand aside. But I can only tell you, I've known him a long time. We've been a little bit on the opposite side of the equation, but I will say this, he is a brilliant, I still think of him as young. He's not that young. I always call him young, but he's not that young. But he is a phenomenal person, a phenomenal man who loves the people of this country as much as anybody can love the people of this country. So, Bobby, please say a few words. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, President Trump.
Oh, thanks for the follow. Sorry, this is covered.
Thank you.
Sorry for the shit quality. Part of me is trying to hide the stream so I don't get copyright claimed. But yeah, so clearly they have close relationship. Again, I feel like both of them come from very like elite families, but I do appreciate how down to earth they are. Like I've said, like there's, I don't know, once people reach a lot type of wealth, they can turn into complete a-holes, and I'm appreciative that they're not.
A few hours after the assassination attempt at Butler, I got a call from a safe food advocate named Kelly Means, who's been fighting for many years to try to end the corruption at CDC and FDA.
I always forget that his voice, like, he kind of has like an auto-tuned voice. I just- Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot, like his voice box, he's got that thing that he can't relax his voice, like his muscles.
And USDA. And these institutions, these regulatory agencies are actually run by the big food processing companies, the big ag and the chemical companies that they're supposed to regulate. And he said to me that he'd been advising me for many years and on my campaign. And he told me that night that he was also advising President Trump. And he asked if I would talk to President Trump. And I said, of course. And about a few minutes later, I got a call from the president. And we talked. We had a very good talk. And then he invited me to come see him the next day. And I went to Minneapolis and saw him. We met again a couple of weeks later in Florida. And we talked about, not about the things that separate us because we don't agree on everything, but on the values and the issues that bind us together. And one of the issues that he talked about was having safe food and ending the chronic disease epidemic.
By the way, like, I know there's like lots of DNC propaganda and also just people fear-mongering that Trump supports Project 25. The only line he's ever said is, I don't support it, I don't know who wrote it, and I think he might have referenced saying like there's some parts of it he could agree with, but like he's talking very vague. Look, I do not think regardless if there's parts of it he likes or not, we're still gonna have like a half democratic possible control in the Senate and the House of Representatives. I don't think, like, the only feel like conservative agenda that can go through is because that we have a Republican majority at the Supreme Court. But just from what I feel like Trump is more libertarian. He's not going to want these extreme religious views to be pushed down and enacted into like federal law that just doesn't align with like the actions that he's done. Again, I'm going on the hypothesis that main reason that I want probably switching over to supporting Trump is because of the lowered quality of life that I think Americans are having now, and just unlawful immigration. We need people. We're actually losing, our fertility rates are going down, so we do need more individuals coming to the U.S. to replace that. But I just think like it's if you've gone to any city, you see lots of issues. If you go to like even rural areas, you see like downtrodden areas that are being neglected, where like taxes are not going to them. So I don't know. I hate that I'm like turning more nationalistic, but I don't think it's good to go be under like a new world order either. No, that's just gonna like ruin. There's gonna be shortages of things. Like, I don't want Amazon to control everything in the supply chain. Please, no.
Our children are now the unhealthiest, sickest children in the world. Don't you want healthy children? And don't you want the chemicals out of our food? And don't you want the regulatory agencies to be free from corporate corruption? And that's what President Trump told me that he wanted. He also told me that he wanted to end the grip of the neocons on U.S. foreign policy. He said he didn't want any more $200 billion wars in Ukraine, that we could use that money back here in the United States.
I'm like, don't know how to feel about this. I have some Ukrainian friends, and they also like are very like leaning towards, of course, like, please help our country. Ukraine is a very resource-rich country. It's a strategic spot for Russia. Like, okay, they say there was gonna be like a peace treaty signed, but then Biden and their administration blocked it because they wanted a war for some whatever. There's a, I think, financial reason. I think like Russia has like was having strategic foothold, and it was probably going to be negative towards U.S. power and influence. So I like, I can kind of see both sides of it. When I've seen like Ukraine ralliers, they talk, they're like, oh, like Russia has like this old like manifest destiny type of idea. They want to take control of all, I don't know what the term is, like Slavic countries, that like you can see a lot of old nations go under them, and you know, Ukraine wants to have its own identity, so like I kind of see that's probably true. There's probably been like years, centuries old, like infighting between Ukrainians and Russians, so I don't really know where I stand in this. I just know the US is kind of like leading the charge. Europe, obviously, like they're, you know, countries like Germany, they put lots and lots of money into supporting Ukraine because they don't want a nuclear war. But I also feel like, you know, we have like Israel popping off, and then Iran getting back and forth into bombings with Israel. Like it could turn into another like World War III. The chances of it are a lot higher now than it was when Trump was president. But it's also like, I don't know if I can directly blame the Biden administration. Some people say I should, so might be nice. Yeah, I'm like in a whole other side of the world, so I'm not going to be affected by it. But then I'm like, prices are probably going to start going up on everything because, you know, Russia produces lots of oil too. And I don't really want to have a war, because then again, resources get limited in those situations.
And the best way to build a safe America is to rebuild our industrial base and rebuild the middle class in this country. And don't you want a president who's going to get us out of the wars and who's going to rebuild the middle class in this country? And he told me that he wanted to end the censorship because the whole basis of American democracy is the free flow.
It's like such a crunchy stream. I'm sorry, guys. Let me see.
And he asked if I would talk to President Trump. And I said, of course. He told me that he wanted to end the censorship because the whole basis of American democracy is the free flow of information. And we know that a government that can silence its opponents has license for any kind of atrocity. And can you think of any time that you can look back in history?
Oh yeah, I mean, to me, Trump getting booted out of Twitter, or X before it was X, was really messed up. As you might not know or know, but I think YouTube's a little bit more centrist. It's still more liberal minded, and how things are moderated. Reddit's super liberal, like Facebook, Meta, like Instagram, TikTok, it's kind of Chinese influence. So there's like an open platform there, which is nice, but sometimes it's like it's too chaotic. I think, again, I want to place myself in Trump's shoes, and this is usually how I like try and like find empathy. It's like, if I was the president of the United States and I had something to say, I might be tweeting irrationally just like he is. Because when I text people and I'm emotional and I'm passionate, I am sending out crazy, like, not crazy shit, but it's just like writing all in caps. Sometimes it's like you're making weird points. Like, I feel like Trump is just openly texting the world, and it's not politically correct. It's not even like rationally makes any sense most half the time. So like, I think it's powerful that like someone at such a high standing can just be so vulnerable, and that's literally, I know that's so dumb that like I care about it, because it's like, bro, this is like the president of the United States. Oh, am I still streaming? I don't know what you're saying. I don't know if you can hear. I have no idea what that means. Let me see if I can like. Or you can respond back. I am still streaming, but I just feel like I like how vulnerable Trump is, because most people that are politicians he's obviously, everyone's fake, but I just think like his like stream of consciousness tweeting and even his Truth Social, like, I don't know, like that's something that's so new. Like, why I would love to see the stream of consciousness of some of these like people in heads of state in Iran or Bibi Netanyahu. Like, we need to have their ideas revealed, and it will just like, it'll humanize them, and then I think it'll like, if we can like kind of pull the veil back on this facade of like what phrases that people say to like drum up fear and drum up like support from their base. Like, for example, like BB is his allegiance is towards the extreme side of Israelis that like obviously want like one state and don't want Palestinians to have any rights. They want like total domination because they had a terrorist attack on their nation, you know, to that extreme extent. Like, I want to see like his crazy ideas. Like, I would love if people, heads of state, were as just honest as Trump. I don't want to say, because like he's honest, but he's like, he still has his cards. He still has, like, I find most politicians, they can say a lot but not give enough. Like, bro, I don't want viewers. Can I block you? I can. Cool. Monitor. But yeah, I just like think if more leaders just stopped, like I think the Democrats and like lots of world leaders are like pulling back the veil, and not trying to be like, oh, I have to like be professional, because people, I just think society's going away from that. There's a time and place to be respectful and professional, but when it comes to like, yeah, like people's livelihoods, I think it's better to kind of just we see what politicians are really like, because I mean, Trump has given enough evidence to people to not vote for him. Like I completely see people, especially that care about women's rights and trans rights. I completely get why they would not vote for him, right? Because the fear that he might take away more rulings, like what about gay marriage? Would they take that away? Would they reverse that? I don't think you can. I think that was codified, but such as things like that. Like I get the fear. But to me, I have other priorities. So yeah.
And say that the people who were censoring were the good guys. They're always the bad guys, because it's always the first step down that slippery slope to totalitarianism.
Let's talk about the pandemic, that we all went through. Quickly realized some states had more rights than others, and it was like how horrible some other countries had it. It's just, that scared me, that whole moment. And I still voted for Biden even when I went through that, because I was kind of like, oh, it really didn't dawn on me, like the long-term effects of going through it though.
And don't you want a president who's going to protect America's freedoms? And who is going to protect us against totalitarianism? And I want to ask you again, don't you want a safe environment for your children? Don't you want to know that the food that you're feeding them is not filled with chemicals that are going to give them cancer and chronic disease? And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again? Thank you all very, very much, and God bless you, and God bless America.
I don't know how long Trump's going to be speaking. I'll probably dip out, like, if it's like goes drones on too much, but I don't know, these rallies are kind of like, sometimes they're interesting if there's like moments that happen, like right now he's speaking after like the finish of the DNC. I honestly feel like the media is going crazy because like RFK he supports vaccines, you guys, but you know those headlines they said he doesn't. So it's like I feel like the people are seething in the Democratic Party. Him dropping out definitely has given Trump like more viable chance of winning. I mean, the next 70 days is gonna be crazy. Like, anything can happen. I mean, people would say it doesn't matter, but the president has, like, such control over how the U.S. is on a national stage. Biden just kind of rolled over and let shit happen. Like, he was just... He's always been a war hack. and kind of like he wanted to just continue on with what was happening, and he didn't want peace. I really doubt Kamala Harris is gonna change her agenda, but because she just like, oh, I'm gonna be hard on the rest of the world, like we're gonna, like the U.S. is already like such military power. Like I think because Kamala Harris is a woman, like she's pressured to be extra hard, and I don't want that. I don't want to live in a world where my another.
Together to defeat the corrupt political establishment and return control of this country to the people. And all who supported Bobby's campaign, I very simply ask you join us in building this coalition. It's a beautiful coalition in defense of liberty and safety, prosperity and peace. It's going to be an incredible coalition, and the relationship has been so good for so long. I have no doubt it's going to work and work well. But we have to win. We have to take our country away from these people that are going to destroy our country. We won't have a country left. So thank you very much. We need your vote. As you all know, this week the Democrats held their convention. You probably saw it, their party. The media says the big message from their convention was that we need to turn the page from the failures of the last 4 years. Do you believe it? They forgot.
Oh yeah, that was like a funny gaffe. Like they were like, we're ready for change, and then it's like, bro, but Biden was like your president. Biden was our president. Why do you want to change things if he was the party leader?
They've run it for the last 4 years.
Yeah, it just made no sense.
She was saying last night, we will stop the abuse, we will stop the high taxes. I said that you could have done it 3.5 years ago. In fact, you could leave that nice auditorium that you're in and go to the...
I mean, yeah, like, Kamala Harris should not talk about taxes, should not talk about the border. She should just talk about we're going to have health care for all citizens. Talk about women's rights. Don't specifically mention abortion, but just say, oh, we're going to find ways to allow women to have power again. She doesn't even need to be specific. I mean, the fact that, like, she keeps talking about, like, the border, taxes, and, like, basically stuff on that Biden failed to do it's hurting her. I mean, it's making me see like I want her to like be like, okay, when I'm in, like say what she can add instead of change maybe.
The White House right now, you want to have a strong border? All you have to do is say to the incredible Border Patrol, ICE, law enforcement, close the border now. You don't need bills. I did it. And we had the best border in history.
So yeah, like when Trump talks like this, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Best border? There's still like immigrants crossing over. That's when I'm like, is it called platitudes or just his extreme like exaggerating his success? That's so frustrating. Oh my god. Grandiose speech.
Put it up.
I don't like it.
I love that chart. I love that chart. Put it up. But I love that chart. Not everybody realizes, but that chart is very meaningful, even beyond the numbers that are on the chart.
I think it's a chart that he held up before he got shot in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania.
It shows least numbers of illegal immigrants pouring into our country. Again, prisons from mental institutions, terrorism, where the bottom arrow is. But you know what? That chart is meaningful in many ways. Some people understand what I'm talking about. I love you, darling. I love.
Bro, he sounds so senile. I mean, at least when Trump is senile versus Biden senile, like, he's funny. Biden doing it, it's like, it's sad and cringy. And you're just like, oh, man, take him off. I feel like Trump just kind of...
Love you. I'm going to sleep with that chart tonight, Deb. I'm going to sleep with that chart.
Just why would he say that?
But isn't that a beautiful sight? Look at that. Look at that arrow. And then look what happens when that was my last week in office. And look what happens after I left. It's like a rocket ship. Look at that. Isn't that terrible? No vetting, no checking. We have no idea who they are. They just pour into our country by the millions and millions and millions. We need to turn the page of 4 years of calamity and failure. They have had calamity and failure. And say, Kamala, you've done a horrible job. You've been the worst vice president in the history of our country. Kamala, you're fired. You're fired. Get out. Get out.
Sorry. I got so bloated, but...
Get out, Kamala.
He fired her. You're fired.
She's the only person ever to get a nomination of a party without getting one vote. She didn't get one vote. Hey, maybe she's smarter than we think. You know, you could look at it that way.
I mean, they called him Doug so many
As
times.
Vice President, Kamala cast the deciding votes, causing the worst inflation in decades, costing the typical...
Okay, guys, I'm going to tap out because it's just... Let's see the comment section. Yeah, people saying that the assassination is faked. Like, what are you talking about? It seems more like an inside job than it being faked, because... Bruh. I mean, he's not, like, super popular. He only has, like, maybe... I feel like he has 50% of the national vote, but online it's always, like, yeah, people are leaning towards... It's interesting. There's definitely, like, very polarizing comments on here. Not surprising. But, anyways... Who will I vote for? I'm in a battleground state, but my county isn't exactly super battleground, so it might be my most decision I've made this year, maybe. Especially for local races. Otherwise,